Hey, everybody. Welcome to True Crime Paranormal Freaky Friday pop up. I'm Christy Brower, and I am your host for tonight's show. This is a live stream on Facebook and YouTube, but of course, it will be available after the fact. So you may be watching it after, or you might be listening to it on our podcast stream. But I'm calling it a Freaky Friday pop up because I'm about to tell you a freaky story. Okay. So let's get to know just a little bit here. Bob Lee Allen and Thomas Evans Gates. You may or may not be familiar with those names. I was not familiar with those names until very recently when I was, out on the interwebs learning about various kinds of crime because that is what I do. And I discovered these two. So back in October of 2020, Bobby Lee Allen and Thomas Evans Gates, who are married, they were married in Texas, they're facing some kind of unusual criminal charges that I thought you might find rather interesting. So, apparently, a man was searching for how to get a castration online. As you do? I don't know. I don't want to make fun of that because I know that many trans people or people on the gender spectrum sometimes are pretty desperate to get a surgery like that. I gotta say, though, that the guy that got this surgery was extra desperate. So here's what happened. The victim said that Bobby Lee Allen told him that he had 15 years of experience in surgical procedures and that he had some videos of that. So this man, after having a Skype call with Bobby, set up a flight in September of 2020, the end of September, to fly to Oklahoma so that Bobby Lee Allen, with the assistance of his husband Thomas, could perform this surgery. Now, here's a clue as to why this was a bad idea. The surgery was free. I'm seeing a lot of red flags in this situation. Really a lot. Okay. So apparently, Bobby picked the victim up from the airport and brought him to his house. And he kind of stayed for a little while because apparently Bobby had to work his day job. So they did do the actual procedure on October 2nd at about 5 p.m. Moonbeam says, wow, never heard of someone looking for that online. I have working in the LGBT community, and I do understand how desperate people can be for a surgery like this. And so, unfortunately, somebody really decided to take advantage of that situation. So, apparently, the victim said that he got up on a wooden table that was covered in operating gowns. And he basically said that Bobby Allen wiped his body down with an unidentified substance, scary, and then injected him with either Novocaine or lidocaine in order to remove his scrotum, and testicles and penis. So apparently this was an awake procedure in which this man was awake for 2 hours while this was happening. It doesn't indicate that he was in pain, so I do feel like they probably did at least keep him not in pain, but he was awake for the entire procedure. And apparently, Bobby's husband, Thomas, helped during the surgery by handing him surgical equipment. So the two of them were definitely involved together in this situation. So after the surgery, the victim started getting pretty nervous because Bobby Lee Allen was saying some pretty strange stuff. He said, the victim said that Bobby Lee Allen said he was going to consume this man's body parts that he had just removed, and he said he was a cannibal. He also told the victim that he had performed surgery on someone who was crazy and that he'd left him opened up to die overnight. Yikes. And he also indicated that there were 6 other people coming for this same operation. He also, the victim also said that Bobby Allen told him that he was storing body parts in a freezer, and he showed him some pictures on his phone. They did, in fact, the police later did, in fact, find a plastic Ziploc bag with testicles in it in the house. He offered to show him other surgeries that he had done, videos of them, which the victim said he didn't really want to see. I can totally understand that. So the victim said that he went to sleep after the surgery, and then when he woke up, he was bleeding really bad. And at one point, he said he passed out. So then I guess he called for help and asked, these guys to take him to the ER, and they told him, no ER, no morgue. He did eventually convince Bobby Allen to take him to the emergency room, but Allen told him if he passed out or died that he would just dump him in the woods. So the victim also said that Allen told him that if anyone asked what had happened, that the victim was supposed to say that he had attempted the surgery himself. So the victim did get to the hospital in time, and he did get the medical attention that he needed. And then he immediately told the police about this really crazy, scary surgical stuff happening over at Bobby Lee Allen and Thomas Evan Gates's house, fortunately. I don't know. These guys aren't too swift, maybe. Allen and Gates actually showed up to visit this guy at the hospital the next day to see if he was okay. And that is when the police arrested them. They were charged with the following things: conspiracy to commit unlicensed surgery, practicing medicine without a license, maiming, assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, failure to bury a dead human member, unlawful use of communication facility, possession of controlled dangerous substance, distribution of controlled dangerous substance, and unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia. The police at the time were pretty flummoxed. They said they'd never seen anything like this before. They were put in jail and given bail. Each of them, their bail was set at $295,000. So they have moved their way somewhat through the court system now. And they have waived their preliminary hearings. And so they are being held over for trial for this insanity. So they're now saying that they didn't say anything about cannibalism and that they aren't cannibals, and that it was actually the victim that was trying to get them to participate in cannibalism, which, seems a little weird when you have somebody's testicles in your freezer. I don't know. It makes me wonder how many other people have been maimed by these idiots. And I don't know. So very bizarre. They've dropped some of the charges, but they definitely have felony counts of conspiracy to commit unlicensed surgery, practicing medicine without a license, and maiming. Bobby Allen also faces a felony count of attempted distribution of a psychedelic mushroom because they had those in the house too. They've dropped some of the assault charges and stuff, and the prosecutor has said that they're really interested in a plea deal on this case. But I don't know. I mean, you guys, how weird is this? Okay, first of all, I guess how desperate would you have to be to go looking for a surgery on Craigslist? And then to fly to another state to someone's house who says they have surgical experience. Now, they didn't actually say they were doctors, they just said they have surgical experience. Also, they didn't charge for this. So, red flags? Anybody? I don't know. I mean, this victim is okay. We don't actually know about any others at this point. They aren't charged with anything else. And we don't know if they actually, they kind of bragged about having done this before, but we don't know if they actually have or not. But I will keep an eye on this because at some point here, their court dates. I don't think their trial dates are set yet. But there will be a trial date for them, and I'm very curious to see if they even go to trial. There may be a plea in this. They are yeah, apparently the police are or the prosecutor's pretty interested in a plea. The victim has declined all interviews, so their name is not public at all. All we know is that they were a male. Well, physically a male. We don't really know what their reasoning behind this was. Yikes. All I gotta say is we gotta make sure people like this cannot do things like this. How did that slip through on Craigslist? Well, I know a lot of stuff slips through on Craigslist, but we got to work on this. Like, I'm just not so sure that you should be able to advertise some free backroom surgery on Craigslist. Anybody else feel me on that? This is just a weird case, and that's why I call this a Freaky Friday pop-up. But I have to say I'm glad that this victim came forward and spoke up, because if there have been other victims, no one has. And I feel like that's really unfortunate. What a scary situation. I'm going to now be down a rabbit hole of illegal surgeries because I know that this is not that unusual. Yikes. Linda says she just read a story today about a lady in Australia who killed her husband, skinned him, beheaded him, cooked some of his body in a stew, and attempted to feed it to his children. Crazy world. Yes, very crazy world. Crazy world. And yeah, if they really were doing this entirely for the purpose of cannibalizing the body parts that they removed, whoa, right? What is that even about? Power. Maybe they think it will give them extra virility or power or something to eat another man's testicles. I don't know. Yikes. But I thought you might find it interesting. So it will go on my list of cases to get updates for, because I'd like to see what they could do life in prison for this, just for the maiming and the fake surgery and stuff. Like, this is really serious charges. Even though the victim agreed to it, it's still super serious charges. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen, and I will definitely keep you updated on this case. It'll go on my list of cases that I get updates for. So this has been your Freaky Friday True Crime Pop-Up. Thanks, everybody, for joining me live, or if you're joining me after the fact. I appreciate all of you for listening. You will probably find another pop-up sometime tomorrow, and then, of course, we will be back on Monday with our regularly scheduled brand new case. So, as always, thanks for listening. This has been True Crime Paranormal with the Psychic Sisters. Thanks, guys.